Turkey season is only 7 weeks away, so it is time to get this shotgun ready to go, so we're gonna pattern it today. First thing we're gonna do is make sure that this red dot is lining up exactly where it should be, and then we're gonna stretch out to 20, 30, 40, and 50 yards with some turkey targets. I also have 3 different types of ammunition that is turkey-specific ammunition that we're gonna be trying to see which pattern's the best and at which distances. But before we get to that, we're just gonna try to get it on target with some cheaper target rounds. It's windy, it's warm in the sun, it's cool in the wind. I think spring is finally starting. The hills that you can't quite see right behind me has snow that is melting all the way up, which is exactly where I'm gonna be turkey hunting pretty soon. So let's get this gun set. Right now I'm 20 yards to the target, and all we're trying to do is get this red dot set so it is on a table and a rest. But once we have this thing dialed in, I'm gonna strap on my turkey vest, sit down on the ground, and try to set myself up on some realistic shots again at 20, 30, 40, and 50 yards. I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to use a red dot, but eventually settled on, yeah, I want to use it because my gun was already tapped for a rail. I already owned the red dot, and why not use everything that I could to my advantage? All right, as you can see, my first shot was high and right, my second shot was great, but a little left, and this one's where I got confused because my third shot stayed left, but moved a little up. Even though I adjusted my sights to what I thought would put it dead center. What I should have done is taken another shot without making any adjustments, but what I did was fiddle with it, take another shot, and as you can see, I hit a little bit right. I'll show you that target again so you can see that pattern was a little bit right. But because I had been flustered by the shot before it, I just took it for granted that it was in the center. The pattern is 2 inches right. That definitely matters, and I should have noticed, so keep in mind that tendency to pull right over the next few shots. By the way, did you see how hard that just kicked me? Watch again. I was not ready for that. Maybe I didn't have a good seal on my shoulder, maybe it was something about being against the table, but I have never been kicked like that by a gun. And you know what? I flinched on this shot, bad. So the gun patterned slightly to the right and I flinched to the right. I had to make a big effort not to flinch here, still patterned to the right. Let's look at these and talk about where I was aiming. On all 3 of these shots, I was aiming, you know, maybe a little bit below where the center of this bullseye was. Even at 20 yards, you know, you can't really see the bullseye or these rings too clearly. So what I was aiming for was kind of where I saw the red meet the black right in here. And you can see with this Winchester first shot at 20 yards, even though I had the pattern slightly to the right, this pattern got pretty dead center. There's a whole lot of kill shots there. With the Federal Premium at 20 yards where I had the big flinch, I mean, had I not flinched, this obviously would have been a pretty awesome shot. Pretty clearly taken that bird out had it been in line. And then lastly, with the Heavi Shot, not horrible, but again, as you can see, this is pulling slightly right. You know, if this line had been over here, there would have been significantly more kill shots. Yeah, these aren't great. These all could have been better, obviously, but each one of these would have killed the bird because it only takes one single one of these pellets to do it. So as you can see, all 3 ammos, assuming this one had been on, would have given plenty of kill shots. They perform great at 20 yards. And now, especially as I show you that first shot at 30 yards, I want you to keep in mind where I said I was aiming, right along that red to black line. Remember that from the rest and my first 3 shots were all at 20 yards. So I aimed at the same spot for this one and it hit low. So I upped the spot that I was aiming at for these next 2 and got much better patterns after correcting my aim. So let's talk about where these patterned and where I was aiming. Okay, so obviously that first shot was bad. I actually, because that first shot was so bad, I reused this target for 40 yards. So the only kill shot I had at 30 yards with this Winchester ammo was this one that I circled right here. I circled it so that I could reuse the target easily. But yeah, I mean, I was aiming down here and the majority of the pattern is down here. So a little bit right, maybe a little bit more right. You can actually notice when you look at this Federal Premium target that there was a shot from the Winchester target on the Federal Premium target. So honestly, that pattern was probably mostly down here, very low and very to the right, because again, we're another 10 yards away from the target here. So that was rough. It's funny how many horrible shots I took. It's because I'm showing you guys. Okay, Federal Premium, obviously better. So again, patterned right, more right than I would want, but there's a good amount of kill shots here. And then the Strut is, I think, even better. So yeah, the thickest pattern is a little right, but there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 kill shots at this 30 yards. So at 30 yards, I really think I prefer the Heavi Shot and the Federal Premium over the Winchester, but that honestly could have a lot to do with the fact that I just took a really bad shot. After my first shot that ended up being so low, where I was aiming down here, I corrected my aim to being the dead center of the target. So at 30 yards, I was aiming dead center. Now, when I move out to 40 yards, assuming that this was gonna be about the same, I aimed right here at the base of the bird's head. That's not the center of the bullseye, but again, I couldn't see these rings from 20, 30, 40 yards. So 40 yards, I was aiming right here to try to just get a good shot right off the bat. So let's see how the shots at 40 turned out. Remember the gun's tendency to pull right at 20 and 30. It's definitely doing that here, and you can notice because there's shot on each one of the targets as I move from left to right across the targets, especially here on this last one, that Federal Premium, really probably just pattern on the wood. So let's break these shots down. Okay, so obviously at 40 yards, this pattern really spread out. There was only one more kill shot with the Winchester. My aim was much better. I think aiming at the top here at 40 yards was perfect. But again, like I pointed out in the videos, this pattern was probably over here, and then again, probably a little over here. So even though I still have a few kill shots from both the Heavi Shot and the Federal Premium, I think that even if my gun had been patterning straight on, this might just be a little bit too far, which is why I did not stretch out to 50 yards and continue shooting. With my gun, which is a stock Mossberg 500 with the choke, the turkey choke that comes on it, I would not trust this Winchester ammo anywhere near 40 yards. And I think these two I would trust in that like 35-yard range. So what I found is I would have plenty of kill shots within 40 yards with either the Federal Premium or the Heavi Strut ammo. I think I actually prefer the patterns on the Heavi Strut. There's definitely more kill shots. I feel extremely confident in this gun with these two loads under 40 yards. Now, I would like it if that pattern was a little bit more to the right. So I've actually already adjusted my red dot to what I think will put this dead center. And I plan to take just the Strut ammo back out and take one more shot from 20, 30, and 40 yards just to confirm that we're all good and that I'm gonna get plenty of kill shots every single time I pull the trigger. It's such a relief to know that my gun is 95% of the way there, ready to go for hunting season. So all that's left to do now is find the birds, scout them, and go out and hunt them. There's only a few more weeks until the season starts, and I am so excited, now more than ever.